Frank here with Doomed and Stoned on behalf of Thief at Night of the Shred. I am here with Garrett of Windhand. How are you doing, Garrett?
Doing very well, just really tired.
Very tired, huh?
Yeah.
So has the road been rough?
It's just been a lot of long drives, overnight drives. Haven't been getting much sleep. The tour's been great, though. It's a lot of fun.
The fans are paying off. It pays off in the end, right?
Yeah, it's been great.
Right on. So you guys are on tour with Monolord and
DANAVA? Yeah.
Reception for all bands. What's it like?
Awesome.
Awesome?
Across the board, yeah.
Okay, that's always great to hear. I think it's very important that you guys are bringing along a band like Monolord with you guys who really made a lot of waves in Europe, but here in the States, I think a lot of people in the crowd today didn't really know what's up.
Yeah.
Until they heard, that monstrous tone of theirs. What do you think it's like where I think some of those bands like Monolord might have heard your stuff beforehand?
Yeah, I've been, I kind of knew them a little bit. Well, I knew Thomas a little bit before I met him in person, chatting online and stuff and talking about records and equipment and just, so I kind of knew him a little bit beforehand.
Was this Empress Rising, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that pre-Empress Rising?
I think so. It's a little foggy.
That's funny, huh?
Yeah. It's a little somewhere in there, yeah.
So when that came out, were you like, what the hell?
It's like,
that's funny. That guy I was talking to last week just dropped this monstrous record.
He actually came, I don't think I met him there, but we met him a long time ago. The first tour we did in Europe, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. We played in Gothenburg, Sweden, and he, at this place called Truck Stop Alaska, he came and introduced himself. And I can't remember if I had met him then or not, but I know Ezekiah had met him.
Okay, he was definitely there.
He was there. He came to the show and introduced himself and everything. So.
You think it's weird that people that were probably listening to you a couple years ago are now dropping records with some of those riffs in their head that you wrote?
I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about. I don't even know. I don't know.
It's not surreal or anything like that.
I don't think in all honesty, I don't know if I really pick up on things like that. I just listen to records and go, "Oh, this is a great band." If that's the case, I do that all the time. Just through osmosis. You listen to records and you're listen to them over and over again, and then the next thing you know, you're write something or have a song. You're like, "Oh, that kind of sounds like that," or I do it too. I mean,
yeah, that's just sometimes how it goes, right? You ever written a riff and then you some days later you realize, oh shit, somebody else wrote that.
I've written riffs and then heard them on other records, because it's there's only so many things you can do with a guitar doing. So it's not because I heard them on other records because somebody was stealing them or whatever, but I heard them because I wrote something and then a year that we never used, and then a year later I hear a riff exactly like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, somebody got that riff before I got to use it.
Right on. Yeah, so they beat you to it, huh? Yeah. When it comes down to something like that, influences to records, you guys just dropped Grief's Infernal Flower.
Yeah.
Anything different that was in the influence mix this record?
Influence, I don't know. It's the first time we had a record that we actually sat down and wrote a record. Previously, the songs we had were songs that we were just playing live.
Okay.
And touring on them. And then, we had time, so we made a record. This time, we booked studio time with nothing written.
Okay.
We just had a collection of ideas and riffs, and then got together and had 3 months to write an entire record, other than Forest Clouds.
And you guys went up to Seattle for this, right?
Yeah.
And how was that experience?
That was awesome. We recorded it with Jack Endino.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to do a record with him since I was about 16 or 17 years old.
You finally did it, huh?
I finally did it. It only took, 20 some odd years for it to happen. But
Was he what you thought he would be like?
no, in a good way. He's like the nicest guy I've ever met. Not that I thought he wasn't going to be, but he's just like a real pleasure to be around. You know, he's like a wealth of information. Like, you can ask him anything about recording or bands that he's recorded.
He's totally cool about it.
He loves it. He just loves recording. He loves like rock and roll music. I mean, it's who he is, and it's kind of like has his own little place in the universe, and he's comfortable with it, and like, you know, it's great. He's just a great guy, super smart. He's like a mad scientist. You know, it's great.
Do you think he's kind of like a guy who's still just a big fan of what he's recording, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He is a fan of the bands he records. He loves working with bands. He goes to shows still. He plays in like a bunch of bands. He's like constantly playing music,
he knows what's
recording.
up.
He's just still doing it. He just does it. It's who he is.
Yeah. Okay, right on. So I heard through the rumor mill that one of the amplifiers you guys played around on in the studio might not have been used by another legendary band he recorded.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that infamous amplifier?
It's actually his amp. I knew the story about, you know, when Nirvana did Bleach, apparently they quote unquote showed up to do the basic tracks without a guitar amp because it was like in the shop or whatever. And
yeah.
he was, you know, he told them, well, I have this Twin Reverb, you know, you can use that. So I think they used that amp and just ran it out into like a 412 cabinet, and that's what they recorded, you know, most of the songs on Bleach with that setup. So I went in there.
Was it a Fender?
Yeah, it was a Twin Reverb.
Yeah, I saw the picture you posted.
Yeah, so he's, you know, all his amps were in there. I needed to do a bunch of clean parts for this song called Kingfisher.
Yeah.
And I asked him...
One of the good songs on the album.
Oh, thank you. You know, I saw it sitting there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the amp, because it has a sticker on the side of it that I had seen in, like, just some Nirvana recording thing. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's it. And I asked him if he could, if I could use the Twin Reverb. And he said, yeah. He said, I mean, it's his amp.
Did you just do that out of nerding out, like going,
yeah,
I kind of want to play on that amp?
One, I needed something super clean to record those guitar tracks.
Yeah.
Two, I was like, I need to play through that amp, because Bleach is like probably my all-time favorite record.
So that amp's pretty fucking old.
Yeah, it's probably I think it's a 70s Twin Reverb.
Jesus
maybe.
Christ.
It's a silver face, so I don't know too much about Fender stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's, I think pretty sure it's like maybe a early 70s.
Regardless, it's went through some grunge stuff all the way to some doom stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's just kind of, you know, it was cool. You know, just, it was cool to think about sitting around being like a teenager in the late 80s, early 90s, and listening to that record, and then years
playing
and years
on the gear
later,
it was recorded
like,
on. That's,
you know,
totally awesome.
Making a record and using that same amplifier.
If you ask me, I'd nerd the fuck out. I would have took so many pictures with that fucking amplifier.
I tried to stay calm about it. You know, you know, when I saw it in there and I asked Jack, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the amp. It's right in there." That's how he is. He's so matter of fact. Like, you know, it's just
that's the album.
That's his.
You know,
amp.
that Nirvana. You know, kind of just, you know, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned one of the songs on the album, and I just have some general questions about the album. Earlier we were talking about quality. I don't want to say that the quality of the last albums were primitive, but it's definitely more on the it's a little more clear with the guitars this time around. How did you feel your guitar sounded initially compared to the last record?
I like the way the guitars sound on this record better than any of the other. The other records are so, the equipment I have is so archaic. It's, you know, it's broken most of the time. It's, you know, it's,
no matter what you say right now, gearheads are going to want to know what that gear was. So
As far as recording equipment, it's just like a Tascam. I think it's called a MSR16. I believe.
Okay.
It's like a 16.5-inch 16-track machine, and
Okay.
sometimes, like, usually only about 14 of the tracks work.
Okay.
It's usually broken. You know, I don't really have any good microphones.
Why are those fucked up amplifiers the ones that are never broken and come through in the end?
I don't know.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Like, you can get a brand new amp and it'll fart out eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Piece
think
of shit in the corner will always come through.
maybe as like far as like old guitar equipment and just recording equipment and whatnot, a lot of that stuff was more handmade at the time, so there was a little bit more care put into things. It wasn't as manufactured. You know,
Somebody's name was on it.
Yeah, somebody built that and, you know, took some
Pride
kind
and
of
joy.
pride in their work, and that's what they did. They built this piece of equipment, and it was built to last. It's like, it's kind of off subject, but it's like my parents had like the same refrigerator. Like when they moved into their house in like 1970, there was a refrigerator in there from like the 50s, and that refrigerator was still in their house until like a few years ago when they finally just got rid of it because they kept it. They moved it to the basement when they got a new one, but it's just a refrigerator. But it lasted like. You can buy a refrigerator now.
I get what
it's
you're
broken,
saying.
like immediate. It breaks in 5 years, and it's the same thing with guitar equipment.
Even like piece of shit like bunny ear antennas
Yeah.
still fucking working nowadays.
There's something to be said about like sort of like quote unquote simple technology. It usually works a lot better and lasts a lot longer.
And it generally works for music as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Simple. Sometimes it's just straight up better.
Yeah, you take one pedal, like I have a Big Muff with one knob on it, and I just run it into an amp that essentially just has a bass, a treble, and a volume.
Wait, you're telling me you have an OG Big Muff? Like,
yeah, that's what I use.
For those of you out there, OG is original gangster. So you have one of those.
It's like a late 70s. Like it's just like it's called the Little Big Muff.
Yeah.
It's just got one knob, just a volume.
Now I know the man's secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's definitely a more... That pedal will probably push the limits a little more on your amplifier than some of the
Yeah,
newer
it's got a
ones,
lot
right?
of bottom end and a lot of like, you know, there's a. It doesn't. I used a rat pedal forever.
I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah, I used a rat pedal until sometime last year, maybe about a year and a half ago. And I just started, like, I had been using that for 20 years or something. I started realizing it was, like, compressing the sound too much. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want it so, like, squashed. So I just started using a Big Muff. Because essentially they're kind of the same thing.
The other one's a clone of the other one.
They're very similar in tone, you know. And I always roll the tone knob all the way back on distortion pedals anyway. So
okay, so I always debate this with other people, and I tell them, well, no, he says he just uses a Big Muff. You know the Windhand pedal that came out?
Yeah, this dude stomp underfoot.
Yeah, the stomp underfoot pedals. You are not using that on the record.
No, I didn't use any of that stuff on the record. No.
Okay,
That was just something that somebody who was interested in our band asked if he could do a run of pedals
with your name on it.
With our name on it. And, you know, he gave us a couple pedals, and that was pretty much that.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
okay.
But depending on, I don't even really know what this, like, I vaguely remember what it sounds like. But
okay.
I think it's somewhat, it's basically a Big Muff type sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I noticed another difference this time around was Dorothea's vocals were definitely a little more clear.
Yeah.
Dorothea in the past had told me in the past interview that she was kind of self-conscious about how she sounded at first.
Yeah, I think everyone is self-conscious about that stuff.
Did she warm up to it, or how did that decision come across?
Well, I think with this record, Jack really worked hard with her on the vocals.
Okay.
That was, he would come up with harmonies. Why don't you sing it like this or try it like this? So, he pushed her in a really good way.
Doubling her voice.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the records we've done before, you know, it was us doing it in a practice space. There was just like, okay, we got to do this. Let's just get it done. And it was her just, you know, hit record, and she would just sing it all the way through, like she would live, and then sing it all the way through again and just double it.
And double it.
And that was it. And it was just us doing it in the practice space. And, you know, this time we had time. We could sit around and work on things. And, you know, he's got, like, perfect pitch, so he would
You could think about what the hell you were doing.
Yeah, and he would make her redo things. So.
Okay. Is that the first time she's ever had to redo things?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I probably, you know, once in a while, maybe if I thought she messed something up or something was a little sharp or flat, I would do it. But that's rare.
Yeah.
You know?
Dorothea's got a very, you know, it's weird. Dorothea sounds pretty much exactly how she does live. Mm-hmm. The records, so there is zero manipulation of her voice going on.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's just her singing, you know, and then we just throw some delay on it.
Okay,
just like live.
So it's very simple.
Yeah, there's nothing crazy going on. It's just her singing.
I think Dorothea, as time goes on, whether she buys this or not, it's becoming somewhat of a iconic voice to the genre.
Yeah, I'd say that. You know,
especially with her solo record that just came out.
Yeah, she's definitely, you know, has her own unique thing going on.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of bands, like the whole female fronted thing, but it's
becoming kind of gimmicky, right? Yeah,
you know, she's definitely, you know, sets herself apart.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a huge I don't want to say resurgence, but surge of bands that are female fronted and this genre, the doom genre.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's on the eve of bands like, you know, Windhand and Witch Mountain. But none of them are as memorable as Dorothea.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with, to be honest, I'm not even really familiar with a lot of the other bands. I actually don't listen to a lot of heavy music when I'm at home.
You've said that before.
So you know, I mean, they all, you know, I'm sure they all just do their own thing, but the emphasis with her, like, we never set out to specifically have, you know, a woman sing for us. We wanted somebody that could sing, that had, you know, someone with a really good voice. And, you know, I met her and she liked all the same music we did. And it's never ever been an emphasis for us. Anything that's ever been said, oh, female fronted this or that, like, that's things that other people have said. We just wanted to be a band and have someone that could sing, and she was perfect. She fit in with all of us perfectly.
Yeah.
So.
I remember one of the comments, one of my buddies, and because there definitely is some kind of a stigma in terms of when bands jump on basically a gimmick, you know, the crowd that listens to this sort of music, or any heavy music, they're very critical. And I remember one of my buddies who had never listened to doom before said, I like how they don't really advertise the fact that they have a female
because
vocalist.
We're just a band. It's not, it shouldn't be, that's the thing, like, that's crazy about music, or, you know, with anything. And, you know, it's like, you could put a woman singing in a band and it becomes, you have to label that as a female fronted band. Like, why do you have to do that? You don't go to other rock bands and go, oh, it's a male fronted band.
Exactly.
Like, what difference does it make if it's a man or a woman singing? It's just a band, and these are the people in the band. It's weird that in, like, this day that having a woman in a band, period, is still, it's like a novelty to people. It's complete bullshit. It's really stupid. It is
really stupid, but there seems to be, you know how I kind of mentioned the term to you earlier, suit and tie.
Yeah.
There seems to be a suit and tie element where bands are ridiculously just marketed that way.
Yeah, that's because they use it as a selling point, and unfortunately, it's a turnoff for some people. When they read that, they're like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna," because this is just like another female-fronted band, and, you know,
time to lump them in with the rest.
Just throw them all together. And it's like, you don't do that with, like I was saying, there's like a million dude rock bands, like.
I get what you're saying.
It's so stupid.
There's saturation no matter what you look for.
It's just it should just be bands playing music. You know?
in the last 5 years, Doom has definitely grown, especially since you guys dropped your self-titled. Have you noticed that? I know you say you don't keep up with heavy music and stuff like that. Have you noticed a kind of difference from when you first started?
Yeah, I'm starting to notice it now.
Okay.
It's more probably since the last time I spoke with you. I'm kind of really noticing it now.
I told you.
Yeah, it's kind of really weird. It's like, I don't, because I really don't pay attention to a lot of stuff.
Is it getting hard to ignore?
Yeah, it's real hard to ignore it now. It just seems like there's just so much of it. I don't know. I mean, I know we have those elements and whatnot, but, I still don't even think of us as, like, just that kind of band. We're just, like, kind of a hard rock band. Like, because, I don't know.
Well, you guys definitely do transcend some boundaries because, especially with the addition of some of these acoustic pieces, even some of the riffs you play, especially, we're going to get a little music-esque here, but your transitions into choruses and stuff like that, I kind of totally hear the old, straight-up, hard rock influence.
It's like pop, they're like the songs are really just like pop song structure, and a lot of it's because, that's just how I know how to do it, like, and I'm lazy.
Well,
Two, I'm not really that great a guitar player, so I'm just like, all right, I gotta, here's this riff, and it sounds like it would go with this riff. Or sometimes you play a riff, and it just goes immediately into another riff. Oh, those go good together, and it makes it easier to play live because you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of pop music. We all are, all of us in the band, just like classic music.
I know this genre that we are indulging in here tonight at this event is supposed to be the antithesis of pop music, but let's be honest. Nothing sticks unless it's got that element in there, right?
It has to. I mean, when you go to see any musician play, if they're playing original music, and you leave, you sort of want it to stick in their head. You want to remember it, and that's what makes. I'm not saying that people who don't write poppy type stuff aren't. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to like songwriting like that, it makes it memorable and you remember it, and that's why you want to listen to it. I listen to music that's more technical. There's technical elements. I like the band Death. I like.
High fives there.
Like, I love that stuff. But as far as like what we're doing, we're not a technical band. So.
Well, when I hear Windhand, I always tell people I just hear the blues modern day.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's the elements. It's everyone in the band has different influences, and when that all comes together, you hear like. Dorothea has like a soulful voice.
Very.
She's got like the leads are pretty much all just like pentatonic scales. I mean, it's all stuff that the blues everything's blues based for the most part. It's not like no one tried. It's just that's what we do.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional. It
just kind of happened.
We know what our limits are. I'm not going to try and like do like sweeping arpeggios. Like I can't even play like that. Like,
well, I think if you did that tomorrow, people would be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you read interviews or you read reviews about your own band, and like people are like, "Well, these guys are boring. They don't even do this or do that," and it's like, but I don't do that. I don't play. I'm not that person. I don't play like that. Like I'm not going to try to do stuff that I don't know how to do.
Yeah. Speaking of bad reviews, I'm not a negative guy, and I don't like to really give this stuff the time of day.
Yeah.
But there was a review that I rarely get angry.
Yeah.
I really got angry at this particular review. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I think it was in that magazine that starts with the letter D.
Let's not name the magazine. Yeah. But what did you think of that review?
I don't really know, because for the most part, reviews are, it's just one person's opinion about, they listen to a record and they go, oh, I don't like this, or I like this, or, and it could be, whatever day they were having, maybe, and then like, what if they listened to it that day and 2 years later they're like, wow, this was really good. Why did I write that?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, you know, you can't really get mad at anyone for saying, but you know, that guy,
the fact that he wrote it on paper.
Well,
you know?
you know, the issue I have with that, and you know, good review or bad review doesn't matter to me. You know, what he did was not journalism, and I don't think he's a journalist.
Yeah.
He's just he has an agenda for basically ripping people apart because he gets off on it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's not journalism. It's like what he wrote was essentially an editorial piece, and it was a personal attack on people he doesn't even know.
That's what
and
really irked me about the thing. He totally trashed Parker.
Well, he trashed people that he doesn't even know in print, and that's just not good. It's not. I think it's. I think he should. I honestly think he should just be ashamed of himself, and he's a horrible, horrible person for doing that.
Seriously, because that's going to go down. You know, that's concrete. You can't delete the internet nowadays.
Yeah. Well, he. The thing that was crazy about it is that after he did it, you know, we saw some stuff that he wrote on like Twitter, where someone that we actually know said that she agreed with it, and I was just like, oh, that's weird. Does she agree with like the crap that he wrote about us, or like? But you know, and his comment back was, if you think I ripped that band apart, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, if you think I ripped them apart, just wait till my next review. So it's like,
this is like, what he lives off.
Like, what is that point of that? Like, I hope you feel good about yourself that you're like have that like great. That's what you do. You like, good for you, dude. Like, all right,
you know,
man.
just keeping it real. Some of his other reviews on some of the other bands he did on that same page, he wrote that one on. It's pretty questionable. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. But let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't like to be negative.
No, it's fine. Believe me, I
just wanted to get your say in there.
I think he should be ashamed of himself. Let me say one more thing about it. Like,
okay.
You can write a review, like a good review is a good review, a bad review is a bad review. That's fine. You can write a review and it can be constructive and say, I like this, or, you know what, I didn't like this and here's why. That's a review. But to personally attack people in what was supposed to be a record review and call them out by name, and not only that, but the other person's band as well.
Yes, like, that had nothing to do with this.
And he didn't even review the record.
That sounded nothing like the band he mentioned in his review.
I mean, yeah, anyway.
Whatever. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has reception to the new record been in terms of the songs live?
I think really well. You know, it's hard to gauge a little bit because, you know, you've been playing the same songs for so many years, and it's like, of course you want to hear the old people, want to hear the old ones. And honestly, we're playing these songs for the first time now live. These are songs
you've held on them for a while.
Yeah, because they weren't written until the end of last year. Like right after I spoke with you last year, we started writing that record.
Yeah. In fact, that day when we spoke at Day of the Shred last year. Wow, we literally were talking.
It was a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about Forest Clouds, and that showed up on the new record.
Yeah.
So there was basically the rest of the whole thing got written. Right?
Yeah, everything. I mean, the ideas were there. Like there were riffs and parts of songs and 4-track demos, but
you don't know what's up until you jam it.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten together in a room and like worked stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Forest Clouds, we just re-recorded it, essentially so that Relapse could have a version of it.
Yeah.
And just
that one was on Writing.
Yeah, and it was on Writing Easy, and you know, for me, personally speaking, I think the definitive version of that song is the version that's on the Writing Easy split. Like that's the version that I like.
We have a little bit of a personal touch on that one, right?
That I recorded that one,
yeah.
But that's the way like this I like. And most you know, maybe most people won't even be able to tell the difference, but you know,
I could.
like I just that the just
Yeah.
and that's just like that's the version I like. It's the one that's on the sale on Spots.
Okay.
So, but we put it on the record just so that it was essentially just so because that the Riding Easy split was like a limited edition thing, and we wanted other people to be able to get the song as well. So we just like re-recorded it.
Okay.
For the record.
Okay. Well, regardless, the record definitely is a banger, one of the best of the year. You know, and a lot of good stuff has come out this year. You know, I don't know if you listen to Goatsnake.
You know, I haven't heard that yet. I still haven't heard that yet.
That's up there in the album of the year contenders.
Really?
Yeah, in my
one song or something.
Two different worlds, I want to say, but still same bass.
Yeah.
But I want to say that Windhand's, this would be your junior record, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's weird to think that we're 3 records in.
Right? Yeah.
What, 3 records and 2 splits.
I'd like to deem it a success.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about the artwork. It's a departure from the past record, and the first. You know, it's funny. The first record, I totally thought that was so Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. This new record, tell me about that. Who came up with the idea?
Boy, I don't know where the actual idea... There were some concepts for the record early on having to do with a trip. There's a cemetery in Richmond called Evergreen Cemetery that's...
Is that the one you might have done some promo shots in the past?
Jeez, I don't know if we have. We might have done some. No, that's a different one actually.
Okay.
But this cemetery in Richmond, it's sort of been abandoned, and it's like really extensive. It's huge cemetery, and it's really overgrown. And there was sort of this concept thing going on of overgrown green viney things, and you know, we had the idea of maybe having some kind of cemetery on the cover and linking it.
That's doom as fuck.
Evergreen, and it's like such a like cliche thing. Oh, hey, let's put a cemetery. It's like the thing we've always avoided, and we just did it.
Yeah.
But you know, and then like you know, we started talking about just you know how it would look on an album cover opened up, and I've always wanted to have Eric Roper do artwork, and I was like, this is it. We have like
that's the guy.
We have you know I met him when we played with Sleep in August of last year.
Yeah,
he was actually doing their merch.
Yeah, I remember when you guys announced that show.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck,
and
I want to go.
I went up to him and I said, hey, my name's Garrett. I play in Windhand, and he's like, yeah, I like your band a lot. And he's actually from Richmond.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's originally from Richmond. So like, there's that connection.
You guys clicked there.
So you know, I told him we were doing a new record, and we had an idea of what we wanted, and I had taken a bunch of photographs, and I sent him the photographs, and he worked it out. He actually had very little time to do it. I can't believe he pulled it off, and it was really nice of him to work that fast for us. But
it's probably like second nature to this guy.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it is. But he's so busy, and he has so much going on. So, but yeah, and then you know, we had the opportunity. It's like, all right, Jack and Dino is this person, you know, I've always wanted to record a record with, and you know, I've always wanted to have Eric Roper do. I was like, this is it. This is like the
perfect.
Package. This is working out. Like everything is working. I mean, so yeah.
Okay, great. So, do you feel accomplished as a musician?
Oh man. Oh no.
I'm getting heavy here.
There's definitely, I don't really know if, I just play guitar, so I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like feel like, I just kind of like write songs and like, okay, these are the songs, and if these guys like them, maybe we'll put them on a record. But like, I feel accomplished in certain weird ways, like just the fact that you know, I've gotten to do some things that I never in a million years would have thought I would have.
Yeah, like playing shitholes, like you know,
traveling
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, just traveling and like you know, making records with people that inspired me to play music, and just meeting people that inspired me, and they like our band, so it's like this is really weird, and I hope it doesn't sound egotistical, but it's like it's kind of cool to like be looked at as peers by other bands that inspired you to play music, and they like your band, so they don't just think you're just like this fringe thing. You're just like, oh, we like your. Somebody said something to me, and I hope this doesn't sound weird, but like somebody said something to me when we were in Australia last year, where they were like, you guys are your own thing now. Like there's, God, I hope this doesn't sound egotistical. But
it's not gonna sound
like,
egotistical, man.
They were like, there's like Acid King, and there's Dead Meadow, and there's Windhand. Like, you guys are your own thing. Like, there's those. You're one of those bands. Like, you have your own.
You chapter in the Doom book.
Yeah, you have your own little identity now. Like, you're not, just. I kind of like, that's kind of was one of the nicest things anyone said to me. Like, I was like, oh, wow,
for
thank
sure.
you very much. Like, we're looked at as sort of our own little thing now. So we have our own little identity in the world now.
For sure, because, you guys got noticed by the biggest heads in Doom. You ask me, Sleep knows your name.
Yeah.
Wizard one time mentioned your name in an interview, so like I was like, you got stamp of approval of the Vanguard, so I think you've made your mark on the genre and in the hearts of many other people.
Well, that's like incredibly flattering.
Yeah, no, it's something that's happened no matter if you take the compliment or not, Yeah. So, tour's going. It's going great.
Yeah.
You're here in San Diego. You've played here before, right?
No. This is actually the first time I've ever even been to San Diego.
Okay, well, I hope you get to check out the place. I know you got a jet right after, right? Maybe you can walk up and down the street or something. So, everyone out there who's going to be reading this review or listening, catch Windhand on the tour with DANAVA and Monolord.
Yeah.
I swear your neck will be very sore the next day. And buy Grief's Infernal Flower. Like, trust me.
Or you can just download it.
Or download
illegally.
Dude, get it somewhere.
There's lots of places you can
blast it somewhere. Is there anything you want to leave the fans with, Garrett? Because you're a mysterious figure to some of these people.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being interested in our band and allowing us to tour and make records and do what we do.
Okay. Anything else? Any shout-outs?
I don't know. I don't really know anybody.
All right, right on.
I just want to say, I will say, like, the bands we're on tour with right now are absolutely amazing people, and I'm really excited that we're on tour with both of these bands.
It's been an easier tour, right?
They're awesome people.
Right on.
Really enjoy them.
I'm glad to see the progression of a band like this. I'll be able to tell some of these. When I get older, I'll be able to tell, yeah, back in my day, I saw Windhand open up for my buddies and saw them all the way to the end, That's cool. So, okay, so I have to ask this, Garrett. Are you guys writing another record?
There's already, like, I haven't really told any of them, but there's already, like, ideas and, like, concepts that are, I'm ready to do another record.
So I know now.
Yeah, there'll definitely be another record, probably, like, around the same time again next year.
Okay. So. Right on. You heard it here first. Inside scoop. Okay. So, Frank here with Doom and Stone. I'm here with Garrett once again. Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you.
Right on. Can I have